It's time for Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero. When it comes to news on 95.1 FM, weather always comes first. A large ridge of high pressure is expected to produce widespread warmth across the western U.S. over the next few days. Numerous record-high temperatures are possible throughout the region, and heat advisories are currently in effect for portions of California. Closer to home, lots of sunshine with temperatures in the 80s through the weekend. We'll have another look at the weather following this news. Yesterday, City of Alamogordo Mayor Susan Payne commented on the October 14th shooting at Oregon Park. She says she was awaiting a response from the Alamogordo public school system prior to speaking, but the school had never responded. The mayor also said that she had intended to attend the school meeting this past Monday.
Shortly before the meeting, I was told that they do not want elected officials there, which I took as I was not invited. While certainly disappointed, I was more curious about why this would be an issue, particularly since this tragedy took place on city property. I did reach out to the schools to share my disappointment, and unfortunately, after their response, I was left with more questions than answers. After receiving information that this meeting was not at all what I had initially thought, nor was it as productive as one would have hoped, I have made the decision to take action and work with our acting city manager, our city attorney, and our chief of police to begin to put together a plan that can be presented to the entire commission for approval and possible action moving forward.
Mayor Payne explains about the issue in question.
After speaking with our city manager, our city attorney, and our police chief, I believe we have a good start on potentially mitigating the risk to our city concerning this very complex issue. Unfortunately, this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of approach, but rather it's going to be multifaceted and take the cooperation of many agencies coming together and community stakeholders working with our entire city commission to achieve the desired outcome. In the coming weeks, I will continue to update our citizens with our ideas moving forward, and I will promise, to the extent possible, open and honest dialogue about what our city is doing to create solutions for the safety of all our citizens.
See the video in its entirety on the city Facebook page. A few pieces of business from last night's school board meeting. One was a comment from Acting Superintendent Pamela Renteria.
I'd like to begin this evening with just a few somber words about the tragic loss that we've suffered as a community. We're deeply saddened by the loss of Jairus Collier. The violence that's touched our lives is heart-wrenching, and our thoughts and prayers are with the student's family during this difficult time.
The board needed to also determine whether to name Acting Superintendent Renteria as interim superintendent while it conducts a search for a permanent superintendent.
When a superintendent is put on administrative leave, that's an investigation or a negotiation. And so he is still the superintendent, that person is, but he's not performing any duties. So the board appoints an acting superintendent to make the day-to-day calls while the investigation or negotiation is happening. Once the investigation or negotiation has been completed, we are without a superintendent. There is no superintendent, so you don't need an acting superintendent. You need an interim superintendent to bridge the gap between the hiring process and the appointment of a new superintendent.
The meeting went to closed session to discuss further, and when the meeting resumed,
I would like to make a motion to appoint Pamela Renteria as interim superintendent until a superintendent is selected, and direct our attorney to update the superintendent's job description to prepare for posting.
President Rabin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice President Ross, how do you vote?
Aye.
Secretary Tevlite, how do you vote?
Aye.
Member Cadwallader, how do you vote?
Nay.
And Member Jewell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that we have President Rabin, Vice President Ross, Secretary Tevlite, and Member Jewell voting aye, and Member Cadwallader voting nay. Motion passes 4-1.
we reached out to interim superintendent Pam Renteria for comment. We had not heard back from her by news deadline. A budget decrease was also discussed, a Parks and Recreation representative nomination, and other items of interest. Of course, the big warning of the night.
I came to tell you guys that God's not very happy with the school boards, and he's coming to judge you, and anybody that hurts his kids, they're going to be hurt themselves. Just watch how you take care of our children, what you teach them, and how you teach them.
See the meeting in its entirety on the APS YouTube channel. Volunteers are needed tomorrow and Saturday for the Dudley School Project.
We have specific things to do. We're doing the lawn. We're going to finish up the painting on the building on the south side, and then we're going to work on the window panes that go in the windows. They're restoring those too.
Come out tomorrow and Saturday at 7 a.m. and join the effort of historic preservation improvements, which are important to keeping historic sites functional and alive. The Alamo Senior Center is having a Halloween dance. We spoke with Jalen, who told me how to dress for the event.
So we do have costumes. You're allowed to come into a costume. Us here at work are going to be in costumes. And Selma's going to be playing for that for our little party. There isn't going to be anything to win, I don't believe, and nothing like any raffles or anything, but it does have costumes.
Jalen went on to say that she's going to be dressed as Wednesday Addams. Tickets are $10 at the front desk of the Senior Center, and this does include food. Call 575-439-4150 for more information. The Alamogordo Family Recreation Center is excited to announce that online and in-person registration for the Turkey Week Holiday Camp will open up on Wednesday, October 25th at 8 a.m. Registration continues until full, and a payment of $60 is due at the time of registration. If you have any questions regarding Turkey Week or registration, please contact the Rec Center at 575-439-4142. We now go to our good friend, Pastor Lauren Noble, for an inspirational moment.
Good morning, 95.1 listeners. This is Pastor Lauren Noble with an inspirational thought. I was telling a coach the other day that I know one of his athletes, but I hadn't seen her since she was about 5 years old, so I wouldn't know her now even if I did see her. I thought about how time gets away from us, and a lyric from a Pink Floyd song came to mind. It says, and then one day you find 10 years have gotten behind you. In my case, it was about 15, and the children I knew when I lived here before are grown up now and in college or graduating from college, and time passed me by. And it makes me think about how often we get caught up in life that we miss out on opportunities to be with family or friends or whatever. And then one day time passes us by. Let me say a prayer for us. Lord, help us not to be too busy to keep in touch with family or friends, because one day you miss out on their life and the opportunity to be a part of it because time has passed you by. And I think that's a concern with all of us. We get too busy in life to recognize and to enjoy the moments that we have right now today instead of hoping that they will be there tomorrow. Amen. Until we can meet up again on the airwaves, may God richly bless you and keep you.
News from around the state in just a moment. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
AlamogordoTownNews.com is a locally owned website featuring local news matters from a local perspective that affects you, and we bring it to you directly. Plus, local sports, cultural arts, and events. Online, AlamogordoTownNews.com. Owned and operated by Second Life Media. We are Otero County.
Directory Plus is the right size book. It's the book if you need a phone book.
That's what just one person has to say about Directory Plus. With its red cover, features, colorful yellow pages, and lots more, it's no wonder people all over use Directory Plus.
It has so much more information. You can cross-check phone numbers or addresses or pretty much anything.
Look on the plus side, Directory Plus.
I'm a big fan of Directory Plus.
More than 34,000 children in New Mexico live or go to school near oil and gas wells. In 8 of New Mexico's 33 counties, over 34,000 students attend school within a mile of an oil well. 39 environmental, health, and advocacy groups throughout the state wrote a joint letter to the governor saying that those wells are putting children's health at risk and asking her to create a health buffer zone to protect the kids. Kaylee Shoup with Citizens Caring for the Future is one of the groups behind the joint letter to the governor. She spoke with KOAT.
It's something that these children, they can't consent to it, and it's just not okay that it's something that we just take for granted and say, oh, this oil and gas well can be right next to this school because it funds our public schools, right? And that's just, unconscionable, in my opinion.
Gail Evans, an attorney for the Center of Biological Diversity, adds,
our state officials haven't put in place health protections for our children. I mean, really, we need health protections, not just for our schools, but from oil and gas pollution, from where people live, where they work, where they go for their health care.
But Alonzo Aranda, who owns a business that works with oil companies to monitor and ensure their operations remain safe, said those that are living near oil wells are not in any danger.
These oil companies will set up a monitor around locations in case there's any leak, it'll be alarmed. Besides the leaks, I don't see everything's secured down hole where it don't leak out to the surface where your water table's at. It's where they're further way down. They go anywhere from 3,000 to 17,000 feet. So above, there's nothing.
The governor's office states that she shares the concerns over potential health impacts on children, and her administration has taken robust actions to ensure responsible development. Read that, adding more and more regulations on the oil and gas industry. Incidentally, oil and gas are one of the leading revenue sources for the state of New Mexico, bringing in over $4 billion last year. The New Mexico State Game Commission will hold a meeting at 9 a.m. Friday, October 27th at the Farmington Civic Center. The agenda, location details, attendee information, and general information are going to be available on the Department of Game and Fish website. If you're interested in participating and providing comments but unable to attend the meeting in person, you're encouraged to pre-register to attend that meeting on the Zoom webinar platform. For those who wish only to view the meeting, there's also going to be a live webcast on the department's website. New Mexico State University is undertaking new efforts aiming to make a type of plant disease which destroys chili and other New Mexico crops a thing of the past. NMSU professor Soham Sanango spoke with KRQE.
It does destroy a lot of crops if it's not controlled.
Sanago is leading the work behind a new $6 million federal grant which aims to research a destructive plant fungus. This pathogen is known as Phytophthora blight. It thrives in moisture and can cause farmers to abandon their fields.
In some cases where you have hundreds of acres of chili and you get a huge monsoon season, it's very difficult to drain those fields before that disease sets in. So being able to catch it before it sets into the fields is really huge for us.
Executive Director for the New Mexico Chili Association, Travis Day. The fungus causes chili plants to wilt, rot, and eventually die. It also affects melons, cucumbers, pumpkins, and more.
Fungus are us find a way to evolve. It's almost like COVID. We get variant and it's able to survive every year.
While Sanago mentioned New Mexico didn't see much of it this year, the difficult disease is one they're still hoping to eradicate under this new research. The 4-year project aims to find resistance to the pathogen and create ways to detect the fungus in soil and water. While NMSU is leading the research, they're also collaborating with universities in Arizona, Texas, Florida, and other states in order to study the disease. Students will be working on the project in campus fields and at other local farms. Sports and weather are next. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
They are role models and educators. Their work requires a great deal of time and energy for very little pay. Who are these unsung heroes?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
The simple truth about education-based athletics in New Mexico is this. Without a committed team of coaches and administrators, it just wouldn't be possible. School sports, they bring out the best in all of us. This message presented by the New Mexico Activities Association and the New Mexico Athletic Directors Association.
There are 48 matches for New Mexico volleyball today, including Corona Vaughn at Carrizozo, Mountain Air at Hondo, Cloudcroft at Capitan, Mescalero at Lordsburg, New Mexico Military Institute at Ruidoso, Hot Springs at Silver, Loving at Eunice, and Artesia comes to Alamogordo. Go Lady Tigers! There are 7 games for New Mexico football today, including Hot Springs at Cobre, Carlsbad at Las Cruces, and Chaparral heads to Deming. Your Crazy Radio spot-on weather forecast for the Tularosa Basin today calls for sunny skies, mostly clear tonight, sunny tomorrow. Your high today in the basin of 83, low tonight 56, high tomorrow 84 degrees. In Cloudcroft, sunny skies today, mostly clear tonight, sunny tomorrow. Your high today in Cloudcroft 65, low tonight of 42, high tomorrow 66 degrees. Local breaking news can be found on our website, alamogordotownnews.com, and learn more about Crazy Radio by visiting kalhradio.org. We've also launched the Crazy KALH Radio YouTube channel, which will feature our daily newscasts, complete interviews, and other information which concerns everyone in the Tularosa Basin. That concludes today's edition of Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.